Lost Time by the Squeakers. Chapter 1 Changes. Why? The purple dragon stuttered out. His claw hung low, and his face looked like a dull hue, as if he had just seen a ghost. What? Spike? Twilight mumbled, still woozy from her unexpected trip. What what happened to you? Spike stared back, annoyed at the question. To me? What about you? Where have you been? What happened to you? Spike's head was spinning at the sudden appearance of Twilight. I want to know what happened. Where did you go? Spike stamped his foot down on the ground, with force that caused the nearby objects to shake. Twilight stood shocked at the sudden outburst from Spike. Not once had he ever spoken to her that way. She looked into Spike's eyes, but as he began to formulate words, she noticed something. He was crying, tears pouring out from his eyes and dripping off his cheeks onto the floor. Suddenly, he rushed over to her and embraced her, holding on as tightly as he could. Twilight's mouth fell open, but she couldn't find any words to say. She was overcome with a feeling of guilt as the dragon held her, apparently crying over something she had done. She wrapped her hose around him as she began to cry. I missed you so much. I thought you were dead. We looked everywhere for you. For both of you. He tilted his head from Twilight's shoulder to take a look at Rarity, who had been standing patiently, waiting for her moment to pass. Where did you go? He shouted, sobbing heavily into Twilight's coat. Spike, I don't know what happened, she said, trying to catch a moment to console the dragon. But just how long have we been gone? She knelt, bringing Spike down with her as she placed her hose on his shoulders. She could feel her heart beating faster and her breath becoming labored as she waited for him to stop crying. 15 years to the day, Spike said in a somber tone. I was just getting ready to go to your memorial service. 15 years? Both points exclaimed in unison. Sweetie Belle, what happened to her? Is she okay? Rarity's voice was becoming hysterical. She began to hyperventilate. I was all she had left. Where is she? Rarity put a hoof to her chest as she began wheezing from air. Spike rushed over to Rarity, held her by her hoof to a chair. Rarity, I don't know how to say this. Spike broke eye contact with Rarity as tears welled up in his eyes. It's not easy for me to say, but no! Rarity shouted, tears of mascara running down her cheeks. She can't be. She isn't. Rarity got up to run, but Spike quickly grabbed her by the hoof. She isn't, Spike cut in. Well, we don't think so. We aren't exactly sure. We haven't seen her in 12 years. He looked deep into Rarity's eyes as he tried in vain to look away. I know this is a lot to take in, but a lot has happened since he disappeared. Spike was about to say something, but something else caught their attention. Suddenly, Twilight's knees buckled as he fell to her side. The effects of the adrenaline that was rushing through her blood from earlier was starting to wear off. Now she just felt how sore and tired she really was. Every muscle in her body screamed in agony. Her vision began to blur as the whole world around her began to spin. Her head ached, as if someone had planted a vice on her temple and was slowly tightening it. She was in excruciating pain, more than she had ever known before. Twilight! Spike shouted. He grabbed the pillow from the couch and rushed over to her side. Carefully, he lifted her head with one hand and slid the pillow underneath. He could feel beads of sweat dripping from her forehead and mane. Okay, keep some ice. Rarity, can you keep an eye on her? Rarity knew she had recovered enough composure to handle this assignment, so she gave a quick nod. As she watched Spike rush off to the kitchen, Rarity leaned down to Twilight, lifting a handkerchief from her bag and dabbing it across her forehead. Twilight, dear, what's wrong? Rarity inquired, as she pressed her bangs from her face. Twilight's eyelids hung only slightly open as she began to mumble. It's nothing. I'm just tired. Slowly, she saw her eyelids as she slipped out of consciousness. Twilight! Rarity placed her hoof on Twilight's cheek and shook her gently. Twilight, please wake up! She shifted her hoof up, inches away from Twilight's forehead, as she felt an unnatural heat coming off from her horn. But the heat coming off of it, she knew it was hot enough to burn her own flesh. Spike! She said, called out. Please come quickly to the ice! Spike rushed back with a bag, crossed ice as Rarity levitated out of his hands, placed it below Twilight's horn. Almost immediately, the ice began to melt as steam rose from the bag with an audible sizzle. Magical discharge, Spike said to Rarity. What was that? I've seen this before. Whenever magic she used that got you both here could have easily killed any normal unicorn. Spike was looking more and more worried with every word. I'll explain later. Right now, we have to get her cooled down, or she might have a stroke. Stay here, keep the ice on her. I'll go fill up the tub with cold water. Spike rushed up these stairs, while Rarity tended to the lavender unicorn with an already half-melted bag of ice. Less than a minute later, Spike came rushing down the stairs where Rarity and Twilight were. Step back, I'll carry you up to the tub. Rarity moved over as courteously while Spike lifted Twilight's unconscious body with great care. So, this is magical discharge. I've never even heard of that before. Most unicorns will never experience it in their lifetimes, Spike said as he carried her up the flight of stairs. But Twilight isn't your average unicorn. The amount of energy she must have let off to put her in this state could have rivaled the princess herself. They raised the tub that had been slowly filling, and gently lowered Twilight in. Steam began to rise from the tub as her body made contact with the cold water. Whatever does that mean? Rarity asked with a concerned look on her face. Is she going to be alright? Spike paused for a moment to collect his thoughts. You see, when a unicorn uses that much energy, not all of it can be focused on a spell, or otherwise they'll overheat. That could cause some serious brain damage. That's when instincts cause over and cast a protection spell around the horde. Spike filled up a cup of cold water and a running faucet and poured over Twilight's forehead. The more power, the stronger the spell. Unfortunately, the protection spell is primal, unrefined magic. It doesn't deflect magic backlash, but rather stores the energy to be released slowly. The problem with it is that stored energy is really hot itself. He poured over more water over Twilight's forehead. Rarity impatiently looked over at Spike. But is she going to be alright? She asked as she raised an eyebrow. Hard to say. If we take it any longer, she most certainly would have built up some permanent damage. Maybe even died. Spike looked down at Twilight and took a deep gulp as something had lodged in his throat. But, assuming we got her up here fast enough, then she should only be getting better from here, he said, more confident than worried. Well, that's good to know. Rarity wiped a sweat from her forehead as she let out a sigh of relief. Please, Spike, I'm waiting for Twilight to cool down. Can you tell me what has happened to my sister? Where's Sweetie Belle? Spike looked down at his feet as he let out a sigh of sadness. Shortly after you disappeared, Celestia came and ordered her guards to look after Sweetie Belle in your absence. Spike couldn't look Rarity directly in the eyes out of grief. After about a month, the search was called off, but they just couldn't keep looking after her. They sent her off to a foster home where she stayed. We wanted to take her in, trust me, we did, but Applejack couldn't. Our farm was no place for Sweetie Belle. Of course, Rainbow Jazz couldn't, what with the clouds and all. Pinkie Pie couldn't. I mean, she still needed Mr. and Mrs. Cake to look after her. First I wanted to, and even took her in for a while, but after a month she couldn't keep up with all the animals and the child. She had to give her up. Spike began to tear up as he recounted her story. Spike, what happened to her? I mean, surely they took care of her. Celestia went and sent her to a bad foster home when she... Rarity was certain Spike was overanalyzing how bad her situation seemed. Spike stayed silent for a moment as he wiped tears from his eyes. She started getting into trouble. Fights, stealing, real delinquent stuff. They sent her to counseling, but she didn't seem to improve. Spike began to choke out his words as they were fighting to stay in. Then one day, about 12 years ago, she set her foster home on fire. Everyone got out okay, but she just disappeared. We haven't seen her since. Rarity put her hoof up to her mouth and let out a gasp. Some more tears streamed down her cheeks. But Sweetie Belle wouldn't. She couldn't do something like that. She fell to her haunches and buried her face in her hooves. A lot of ponies have changed since you've gone, Spike said, putting his hand on Rarity's shoulder in a poor attempt to console her. Sweetie Belle took it the worst, though. She went through a lot of sadness. She even tried to... Spike stopped himself before he let some words slip. What? Spike, what did she try to do? She... Spike couldn't bring herself to tell her what happened. He looked around frantically as if a different topic was going to fall off a shelf. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Spike let out a deep sigh of relief when his familiar voice came out. Spike, what tarnation are you up to? We missed you at the service this morning. I ain't likely to miss something like that. Are you all right in there? Coming, Spike shouted. He quickly turned to Rarity and gave her a quiet shush. You should stay up here. I think it might freak AJ out if she saw you without fair warning. He turned and started running towards the stairs, grabbing a coat on the way down. Rarity gave Spike a puzzled look, as he remembered that Spike said he had disappeared 15 years ago on the day, which would make it autumn in Ponyville. Certainly not the coldest of seasons. Rarity placed her ear to the bathroom door to listen in on her friends. The door swung open with a creak, and the sound of wind rushed in as she heard Applejack's hose clump on the wooden floor. Spike, what darn lace made you sleep in on today of all days? Something happened. You are going to believe, and what could be more important than Twilight's memorial? What would you say if she knew you gone and forgot about her? A.G., please, I need to tell you something, and there's no easy way to say it. Suddenly, Rarity heard a groan from behind her. She quickly turned her back to her friend and grabbed her to fill it with cold water. As she poured the water over Twilight's head, she heard a loud shriek, followed by stamping a hose upstairs. Wait, A.J.! She heard Spike called before the door burst open, revealing a man in red 30s wearing a thick brown work coat and her trademark 10-gallon hat. Stetson, actually. The mare began to pant from her shock as he stared down into Rarity's eyes, then slowly to the unconscious Twilight in the tub. She walked over, slowly right in front of Rarity, and placed her hoof on her cheek as if she was solid. Ah, is it really you? Rarity looked into Applejack's ace eyes and gave a firm nod. With that, the workhorse embraced her with all her might, which, while painful, was also warm and comforting. Rarity suddenly felt wetness in her back, as she heard sounds of sniffling and sobbing. I thought you were all dead. Nobody knew where you went. Why'd y'all leave us? Applejack took a step back as she held onto Rarity's shoulders. We missed you. I missed you. Rarity was at a loss for words. Twilight was better at explaining things than her. I don't know. I haven't had the slightest idea what happened to us. Why, you haven't even aced the blade. What is your secret? Applejack choked, forcing a smile through her tears. She quickly turned her attention to Twilight. Is that okay? She don't look too hot. Rarity rolled her eyes at the irony of the statement. She might not look it, but she's actually burning up. This is, as far as I know, the result of everything that led us here. Rarity began running more cold water through her mane and over her forehead, both keep Twilight cold and to demonstrate to Applejack the amount of heat that Twilight was emitting. The water steamed off of Twilight's face as the rest bubbled down her neck. Wasn't as dramatic as before, so she had cooled off considerably since it started, but was enough to convince Applejack that her friend was indeed not doing too hot. Doesn't think we should take her to the hospital? What's the matter? Serious? Applejack walked over to the side of the tub, raised her hoof to feel Twilight's head. She stopped her hoof only inches away as she felt burning heat radiating from her horn. The best thing we can do is keep her from overheating, Spike interjected quickly. They will do the same thing for her over there. I've seen it before. Spike went over to the tub, reached over to touch Twilight's head. Pressing her bangs out of her face, he placed the back of his hand below her horn. Her temperature's really gone down. I don't know how long the discharge should last, but it should be more than a couple of days. She'll probably feel like she's just had a bad fever or something. Spike was trying to put Rarity's and Applejack's fears to rest. Spike's maturity and intelligence reminded Rarity of Twilight. I see you certainly have kept up with your studies, Spike. You sound much like a doctor, Rarity said, making an attempt at flattery. Thanks, Rare, Spike nonchalantly said as he quickly turned to speak with Applejack. Rarity gave a confused look to Applejack as if Spike had just said something rude to her. She was used to Spike becoming love-struck even at the sight of her, let alone any form of flattery. But Spike just turned as if she wasn't even in the room. In fact, she began to recall Spike had even given her much attention since he got there. Hey, AJ, I need you to do something for me, Spike said. Sir, Spike, what's the night? Well, I know this is a complicated situation, but we can't just keep hiding them from everyone. Spike explained as he pointed to Rarity in Twilight's direction. I need you to tell Fluttershy to get Rainbow Dash home for Cloudsdale. Tell her it's urgent, but don't tell her anything else. I think we should just tell everyone at once. Spike, I could try, but I don't know if Fluttershy can convince Dash to break practice with the Wonderbolts. You know she's my teammate, and Dash is stubborn as a mule. Rarity gasped as she put her half to her mouth. Rainbow Dash made it into the Wonderbolts? Not just made it, she's their captain, Spike exclaimed. Yep. Happened around 10 years ago. So he was prancing about like a school filly when she got home from the tryouts. Abstract beamed, proud of her friend's success. It took that girl 3 tries just to make it in. Mine's disappointed these attempts have failed. But she gone and done real good for herself. About 6 years ago, they bumped her up to the main squad. Then 2 years later, co-captain. But this last year, she got promoted to captain when Spitfire retired. Spike cut in. She's been pretty busy since then. Well, also, we're all proud of her, and we still got a lot to fill you in on. Outset cut back in, with a hint of urgency in her voice. But don't you think there are some mayors that be excited to hear their friends return? Spike turns towards Applejack and gives her a nod. Sorry, I'll let you go. I'll try to get peeky. Thank you, immensely. Applejack nodded. She turned down and head the stairs. Rarity and Spike followed her to the edge of the balcony, watched her as she came to the door. She raised her hoof out to grab the doorknob, and before she opened the door, turned to Rarity. Oh, and one last thing. Applejack ordered her. Don't go disappearing before I get back. With that, she turned the handle and braced herself for the rust of wind and snow that filled the entryway of the library. It was dark out, not only for the great clouds that covered the sky, but it also appearing to be night. The howling of the wind echoed off from the halls, with a tree with a ghostly wail that chilled Rarity to the bone. It wasn't like any weather she had seen before. Even the worst winters she could remember felt temperate compared to this. Something about this cold just didn't feel right at all. Before Rarity could ponder her suspicions further, Spike walked down the door. Rarity, can you watch Twilight while I go get peeky? He asked. This late at night and in this weather? Rarity scoffed. Night, but it's... Spike, called out a wary voice. Rarity and Spike both rushed in to see Twilight with her eyes slightly open, leaning her head against the rim of the tub. I think I went to bed again, she said, her mind numb from the heat. Rarity turned away quickly as she put her hose to her mouth to stop the laugh from bursting out, but she only managed to keep it to a highly unflattering Spike shot her a dirty look as he reached over to brush Twilight's bangs from her face. He noticed there were tears forming in her eyes, clearly out of embarrassment. No, Twilight, that was just an accident, he said as he held her up to try to soothe her. You're in the tub right now. That's just a mystical discharge. You'll be okay. Twilight felt a wave of relief, at least until she noticed Rarity sniggering in the back of the room. Instantly her eyes shot open, and she let out a high-pitched Her whole face turned a sea of crimson through her lavender coat. Rarity took a second to take a deep breath and compose herself before turning back to face her friend and seemed just embarrassed. Twilight, I'll tell you to me. I know very well that such a situation is no laughing matter. Will you please accept my sincerest apologies? Rarity tried her best to keep her ladylike composure, while making amends to her friend. Twilight slid down the tub where the water came up to her nose. She let out the breath of her lungs, which bubbled out in front of her face in disapproval. Twilight, you have my word that this conversation will stay between you and me, Rarity said peacefully. Besides, you have more things to be concerned about. We had a visitor such a little instant, but she left just not a moment ago. However, she will be back with more company in no time. I think we should at least look presentable for our 15-year homecoming. Rarity reached over to feel if the heat was from Twilight's head disappeared. Sure enough, her horn had cooled down considerably. Even though it was still hot, it was safe to touch. How are you feeling? Do you think you can stand? Twilight gave Rarity a look that could see a stalemate between the two of them. She slowly lifted her body up from the water. She felt a powerful sensation fill her head, which, while not exactly painful, gave her a feeling of being washed away from a strong current. Knocked her back, luckily into the waiting arms of Spike. But suddenly her vision started fading to black, followed by a sharp stabbing pain in her temple. She sat back down in the tub, trying to regain composure. Hey, Twilight, take it easy. You don't want to overexert yourself, Spike said as he held Twilight down. I'm okay, really. Twilight lied as she made another attempt to get up. This time, she was able to stand up and bring herself out of the tub. She felt like everything was moving in slow motion, and she stumbled over for a few seconds. Rarity levitated the tile so she could dry off. What happened? All I can remember is bright lights. Twilight's eyes traveled all around the bathroom, but, while she could tell it was her home, everything seemed different. Not only was the room bigger, but she remembered there was a feeling in the air, or rather lack of, that set Twilight on edge. She put her hoof to her head and winced in pain, honestly due to her current condition, heavy thinking wasn't going to be possible. Oh, Spike, how long was I out? Just a few hours, he said with a relieved smile on his face. He really has worried for a second there. Spike had been extra cautious with his long-lost friend, because, throughout his learning, he had seen magical discharge a few times, but the cases often led to cases with permanent damage or even proved fatal. Through the time of Twilight's absence, Spike had come back to Camelot to further his education. He picked up quickly, much like his mentor, and excelled in all subjects. Soon he was able to gain admission into Celestia's School for Gifted Unicorns, due to his relation to Twilight and Princess Celestia herself. There he found a passion for medicine. Eventually, he even made his way to the top of the class, much to the resentment of his fellow unicorn classmates. Unfortunately, his degree had been cut short after the school closed down 2 years ago, indefinitely due to the ongoing blizzard that had covered all of Equestria. Luckily, his medical training had proven useful for that fateful occasion. Twilight now had the child draped over her shoulders and cautiously watched, with the aid of Rarity and Spike to her former study. As he approached, she noticed the room had increased its size by at least twofold. While the walls themselves that once adored astronomical and magical tomes were now replaced with medical reference books and guides. Well, Spike, she said in amazement, is all of this yours? Sure is. I came up with the place while you were gone, as well as adding my own little personal flair. Spike held his chin up with pride as he gave Twilight an extremely brief tour of his study. As you can see, most of this medical stuff I really did get an interest in. I wish I could have seen you when I got sent to Celestia School. You would have been so proud of me. I'm sure I would. I'm all right now. This is all amazing. Twilight paused, suddenly shifting tones. But how did you get in? That academy was a school for magic unicorns. It wasn't all that hard, Twilight. I really had to do was mention your name, and then I studied you, and they let me in full scholarship. You're real famous there. Well, it's sure nice to know my reputation is so well received. Twilight made her way to the bed as she eyed various devices, the silver tools which, though they had once served more medical tools, were simply outdated and only served as decorations for the study. Exhausted and magically drained, Twilight plopped down onto the bed and laid back, rubbing her hose across the sheets. They were new sheets, she could tell from their softness, although the bed was hers once, and not on the smell of Spike. The feeling of unfamiliarity crept up back into Twilight, granted all she experienced that day. The library she once called home changed. Speaker redecorated to the extent it felt like she wanted a stranger's home. Even her friends could not have withstood the toil of time. Spike had grown. He was taller than Twilight now, in fact, older than her theoretically. He had changed. Intelligent, confident, and strong. He was a stranger. She could only imagine how much her friends had changed. Aged in their 30s by now. But what of the princess? Maybe her friends have aged, but certainly Princess Celestia withstood the millennia before Twilight. Almost 15 years for a being that could survive eternity. Celestia was Twilight's rock, standing firm throughout the rest of time. Twilight sat back upon the bed. Despite the rest of blood that almost caused her to black out again, she stood firm. She was determined. Celestia could bring them back to their own world. Spike! She called out with terrific confidence. Yes, Twilight, is everything okay? I need you to take a letter to Princess. Dear Princess Celestia, Twilight began to recite. Twilight, I can't do that. Spike started in. Why not? Certainly the princess would love to know. Twilight, Spike quickly interrupted. The princess. Princess Celestia? She's dead. Bum, bum, bum.